So I have been wanting to do a solo trip with my buddy here for a bit, and finally got a chance to do it. Although the weather here is quite a bit warmer than I thought it was going to be. It's calling for the low 30s for the high, but it was 39 on the way up, which is unfortunately too wet to cross-country ski back to our campsite. So we'll be hoofing it today on foot. But at least we're out here enjoying the weather. All right, back on the North Country Trail. We've been pretty happy so far this season to be on the North Country Trail every time we've gone north this winter. I think this is my 4th trip up to Michigan. We've had 2 to the UP and now 2 to the Mitt. Oh, we got some snowshoers ahead of us here too. No. Come on. There's a dead rabbit in the trail back there. Obviously the dog was very curious about that. What you doing down there, buddy, huh? So, as I was saying, I've been fortunate so far. This is our 4th trip up to Michigan to enjoy the snow in the winter. This time, it's just me and Dart. I've been wanting to do a solo trip with him for a long time. Just haven't had the opportunity where the weather is snowy and cold enough. And today is a little warm than I would like it. It's 39 right now. It's supposed to get down to 19 tonight, hopefully so. Otherwise, I think we're going to have a very wet and roasting evening. Yeah, it's warm, isn't it? That's what I was thinking. Can't do much from my buddy's temperature here, but he's already panting. So I think he thinks it's warm too. 39 is not what we quite signed up for. We were hoping for colder. The heavy wool off. Running out of place to tuck clothing here, buddy. All right, are you ready? Let's go. So my loadout today, I think it's about 40 pounds, which is really unfortunate for just an overnight. But I have the tent and the cook gear, and I was expecting cold weather, so I brought the white gas stove, not the jet boil. I don't care what they say, jet boils don't tend to do very good when it's cold outside. Come on. So, all that adds weight. Plus, I do always carry a big puffy jacket just in case. That's not so heavy, it's mostly bulky. But the other thing I have here is a 1.5 gallons of water with me. No, wait. Sorry, scratch that. Yeah, almost 1 gallon of water with me. Got 2.5 liters. So that adds some weight. And standard things like a med kit, toiletries kit, and the food. And then the one thing I'll show when we get to camp is I always carry a dog rescue harness with me. Because if he breaks his leg or something else happens to him, I have to get him out of here. And getting him out would be difficult without being able to have some way to attach him to me. So I got a pretty inexpensive rescue harness, and we've actually used it a couple times. And we've gone to one of the state parks that had a bunch of ladders to get up and down the cliffs. So he got to ride in the harness on my back. Didn't like it too much, but he put up with it and he's able to get up and down. So hopefully this is an accident-free trip. Not planning on going super far, just a good evening to get out with him, see how he does with me. He's been solo hiking a lot with me, but never solo overnights. Normally in the tent, he curls up with my daughter and sleeps in her bag. So we'll see what he wants to do tonight. Like I said, not super cold, only 19, so I'm hoping he just stays on his sleeping pad in his little onesie and is perfectly happy there. But if I have to keep him warm, I will. I love my buddy. Who's a good buddy? Finally getting into some greenery here. I think it's supposed to snow tonight. At least there's a chance of it. Sky's starting to cloud up a little bit too. It was nice blue skies all the way up here today. We are now off trail, looking for a place to set up camp. Not sure if my dog's just excited or if he's leading me to a good spot. Where you going, buddy, huh? What are you doing out here? There's a lot of buried limbs. It's gonna be fun finding a clear spot. It's one of the joys about backpacking, though. Ooh, what is that? Something peed a lot there. Anyways, it's one of the joys of backpacking is not no, come on, no, come on, come on, hey, come on. Yeah, there's a game trail there. Something definitely comes back here to sleep. Come on. Either way, one of the joys of coming backpacking versus state park or national park is having dispersed camping, where you don't have to be in a spot. You just have to be so far off the trail, so far away from water, and be in a spot where it doesn't say no camping, which is kind of rare in the national forest. So it's nice to get out here and make your own spots for things. It's about 6 inches of snow on the ground. Normally I'd have snowshoes to stomp that out, but it wasn't deep enough for snowshoes out here. I weren't carrying those because if you've ever used snowshoes, they're no fun unless you need them. And it was not bad enough weather out here to need them. let's get this tent set up. Now I have an external mic going, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me the entire time I'm setting things up. So if it was really deep snow, you would want to stomp this out, level it, and flatten it. And then if you happen to have a snow anchor, it's really awesome because you can make this almost glass smooth, which is great for sleeping. However, don't have a snow anchor because I'm not in an alpine environment and there's no reason to carry that along for this trip. But it would have been an awesome thing to have if the snow was deeper. And I'm leaving my dog's backpack on right now because it does make him a little bit slower just in case he decides he wants to run for something. Better chance of catching him. Usually this is pretty well, but just in case. There's one pole. All right, that one has the end on it. And so is this one. Buddy, you can't get in there yet. I know you want to. Just gotta wait. All right, there's one. Get the other one in. So this is a Mountain Hardware, I think it's the Outpost. And I'm kind of disappointed to see that Mountain Hardware has really been getting out of the winter, high alpine, expedition type of equipment ever since Columbia bought them. They don't really make this tent anymore. There's been times when they haven't had any of the Terrangos in stock, which I've used the Terrango several times out in the mountains. It's an awesome tent. So I'm not sure who's going to take their place because they have been a phenomenal company when it came to outdoor gear for alpine environments. You just don't see them anymore making stuff like that. And I am going to flip this tent around because it's a slight slope here. And this is the front end of the tent, which is actually wider than the tail. And I'd rather have the bigger opening uphill where your heads are going to be. Watch out, buddy. My dog does great when it comes to hiking on the trail, but when he wants to get in the tent, he wants to get in the tent. He doesn't like stopping. He thinks we're stopping, we're done. Let's get this. There we go, pretty close to the back there. I'm gonna clip these down. Not too windy, but it's a little gusty occasionally. So I'll get these clipped so it can't go anywhere. Then I'll stake out the tent. So sometimes staking it out isn't all that important. But one thing it does definitely do is it makes the bottom open like it's supposed to be, so it can vent and you can get rid of some of the moisture inside the tent. Because the human body releases about 1 liter of moisture every night when you're sleeping through sweat and breath. So it's important to get rid of that. Otherwise you get a bunch of condensation built up and you get wet. Don't need my snow anchors. Good old ground anchors will do. Got a couple trees in my vestibule. All right, 2 more stakes to pull out the sides so we can get some ventilation. It should be good. I set up most of these cords here to be daisy chains like this. They come untied quickly, but when you throw the tent in a bag, they don't end up no, they don't get tangled up super bad. Come here. All right, you can see that is one eager dog to get in the tent. He's like, I want to get out of this cold. Here. Come here, buddy. Let me get your backpack off. Here. Where's your other strap? There it is. There you go. Ooh, the wind's picking up now. Hold on, buddy. We'll get you in the tent in a second. Look at this. What's this? There you go. All right, here's a quick tip. Leave the cover that you buy your thermarest with on your thing. One, if it rains out, helps keep the thermarest from getting super wet, but now you have a waterproof seat, so you can sit on a log somewhere and not get snow or water seeping through your pants. Well, there's the dreaded onesie. You might not even need that tonight, huh, buddy? Only being 19, that's not super cold. There's some water. What else needs to come out here? Stove needs to come out. What are you thinking, huh? I'm thinking I should collect some firewood. Scoot over here out of the wind. Grab this, bring it up here. There we go. Sounds like Dart's making his home in the tent right now. Well, it's not a roaring fire, but it is a sustainable fire. It's pretty hot coals here. I'm able to keep this going. Normally when you're backpacking out, bother with a fire. Just get in the tent, cook in the tent in the vestibule. And most of the day is all about just hiking and getting to where you need to stop. But I figured since it's just me and my buddy out here, that might be a good opportunity to actually enjoy a winter fire, especially when the temperature gets a little colder tonight. So now, one of the things I need to do is split some of the log that I got off of a dead tree. all of my dry wood. I'm gonna find some more. What do you think? Huh? All right, let's get some more wood. Whew. Well, it is snowing. It's actually snowing a lot more than I expected out here. Oh, hold on here. I have the temperature probe hanging in the tree, but I haven't looked at it for a while. Let me pull it up on my watch here and see what it says. So I did get a decent collection of firewood. I don't plan on having a fire all night. Just enough to kill off a little bit of darkness here once the sun sets. It is 32.8, so 33 degrees right now. See that on my watch there. And sorry for knocking the camera around here, trying to stop this activity. Get a time here for it too, because it is 5:19 and sunset is at 5:45. So got about another hour until it's dark. So Dart has had a slight snack and now he is chilling in the tent there. He's getting a little chilly. So I'm gonna try to make him a little bit warmer here. Then we'll talk about some of the gear that I brought along for this trip. Let me see here, buddy. You getting cold? You don't feel cold. You're not shivering yet. But you probably want your sleeping mat underneath you, I'd imagine. Your bag is small. Let's throw that in there. Put your food and water over here. That'll make him a lot warmer, having his insulated mat here next to me with his bed on it. And let's see, what side's open? This side's open. So flip that around. I have not had luck with him wanting to stay inside of his sleeping bag yet. He usually ends up crawling out of it, which is unfortunate because he'd be so much warmer if he was actually in his bag. Here, buddy. There you go. What you thinking out there, huh? We smell like fire, don't we? No, mine's warmer? Huh? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Come over here. Come on. That's a good buddy. Let me get my camera. You can see what I'm seeing. Got the smoke from the fire. And maybe you'll be able to see some of the snow falling as well. Not sure how well it'll turn up on camera there. All right, so let's come back into the tent here. Turn on my light. All right, so let's talk about some gear. I'm not sure who makes this little collar. I got a little light up collar off of Amazon for him. Sometimes I use it, especially when I'm out here just with me and him, because he likes to be off leash, and normally he listens, but those rare times that he does wander away, I like to make sure I can find him, and having a glowy collar like that definitely helps see him in the dark. Anyways, though, I have an old thermarest I had cut in half that fits underneath his little doggy bed. His doggy bed has a really cool design. It's a sleeping bag for him that has some toggles that hold it down in certain corners, but then you can also snap pieces of it together. Like there's a snap right there to help really seal it in. And he can get in there, and normally at night I'll put him in there, but he ends up crawling out and getting on top of his bag. So what we did to keep him warm, because he kept on getting out of his sleeping bag, is we got him this guy. Who makes this thing? Herta, I think. Herta. I'll add a little description here inside of the video for what this is, but it's basically a dog onesie. They advertise it as a snowsuit for dogs so that your dog can play in the snow if he's short-haired. He doesn't have too much of a problem as long as he's active. We've been outside in negative 15-degree weather, taking him for a walk, and he doesn't need booties, doesn't even like booties. And as long as he has like a vest on, he's usually pretty good in that kind of weather. But if he stops, he gets really cold. So this we never use for hiking, but we do use it as his sleeping bag that he can't take off. Because I've woken up so many times in the middle of the night camping with him where he's in the corner, off of his mat, off of his bed, and he's shivering. So this tends to keep him way warmer. He hasn't shivered in that yet, even camping in 4-degree weather. Although the one downside to it is he likes to pull his legs up when he's sleeping, and he'll end up pulling his legs up into it, out of the little holes, and then he's stuck. So it's like a straitjacket for him. So that's kind of a bummer. I'm sure that the manufacturer did not really intend for it to be a sleeping bag. They meant for it more for him to be active, walking around in it, and if he was doing that, his legs probably wouldn't pop out of where they're supposed to be. But at least he's warm, and if I'm sleeping, he's not freezing to death, so that's a good thing. And then the last thing that we have for him is a Mountain Smith dog backpack. And I did a review on this previously on the channel. I'll try to see if I can put a little pop-up talking about it. But his Mountain Smith bag works really well for carrying about 4 days, maybe 5 days of kibble for him. We usually try to feed him a mixture of raw and kibble at home, but when he's on the trail, he's stuck just eating kibble. But it'll carry about four days of kibble, plus I have his rescue harness in there, and I also have a doggy blanket in there for him too, in case he gets wet and muddy and needs to get wiped down. So while I'm talking about that, let me get out his rescue harness and show you that. That's kind of cool. See which side this is on. Yep, here it is. No, I'm sorry, buddy. It's not food. So this is a pack and paw rescue harness. And this goes over all 4 of his limbs and kind of tacos him. And then it has 2 big straps that you can put over your chest and wear him as a backpack. But if I had to rescue him, if he broke a leg or had an attack with an animal and was in bad shape, it'd be really hard to get him out of the woods on my own if I didn't have a way to strap him down. So with something like that, I could carry him back to the truck and go get help for him. Otherwise, it'd be really difficult. And then one of the things that I am doing differently than I normally do when I go hiking out in the winter is I am not wearing my Outdoor Research soft shell pants. I love those pants. They're great. They have fleece lining on the inside and vents to vent when you start getting overworked and too hot. They're also really expensive. And I do use them when I go on multi-day trips. But since I knew I was going to be just doing an overnight tonight with him, not super bad temperatures, and I was going to have a fire, I decided to wear my 511 soft shell pants. They actually make a soft shell now. And these are surprisingly comfortable. They're not nearly as warm as the Outdoor Research pants with the lining inside of them, but they're also not nearly as expensive. And they have some surprisingly good features. One, they look like a street pant. And they also have, we can show this on camera here. Let's see. They also have a bungee cord that you can use to basically hold these down like a gator would on your shoe. So it kind of acts as a cuff to keep snow from getting into your pant. I thought that was really clever because the Outdoor Research, Mountain Hardware, Marmot, other companies that make a pant with a built-in gator is usually way more bulky. But this cuff is really stretchy, and then that locks it down, and then the other side there's a button that you can make it 1 notch tighter if your boot isn't as big as the one I'm wearing right now. So really clever design. Great pant. Like I said, not as warm as a Outdoor Research pant, but I think for temperatures like this, where it's only going to be 19 tonight and 39 for the high today, which is really high. Pretty excellent pant for that. Either way, I'm getting low on batteries on this current GoPro, so I'm going to turn this off for a second, go tend to my fire, and probably pull a little bit more of this gear in here because it's starting to snow pretty hard. Fire is going. Probably won't burn too long. I didn't harvest a ton of wood, but like I said, just enough to enjoy a little bit of it here once it gets dark. My buddy is on my sleeping bag, being very happy he is not out here in the cold with me. All right, we are going to start making dinner for ourselves here. It is dark outside now. And then we are also, I keep saying we, I think it's a royal we, but I'm going to get on my boots for now and get into my little camp booties, because these are not insulated. They are just solid leather boots inside and out. And my toes are getting cold. Yep, because my toes have gotten sweaty and wet. I guarantee the boot has not wetted through from the snow. It is just all perspiration that has caused that. So, get both of these up here. And I'll show you in a second here. One of the things I have done on the inside of my tents, all of them, winter or summer, is I run some guy lines from the corners. You see one of the lines, get my camera angle right here. There's some lines there, they run up. And I run those for a couple reasons. One, if it's really windy and stormy outside, you can, oops, sorry about that. If it's really windy and stormy outside, you can pull tension on those and help anchor down the tent even more, assuming that you have it guyed out and staked out properly outside too. So that's a big plus. The other thing is it's a clothesline, and it works great to hang up stuff like socks so that they can start to dry out when you've gotten them all sweaty. So I'll get these hung up. Now they're out of the way and they'll dry, or possibly dry anyways. At least they're out of the way. And I am, sadly, most people have to say I'm not sponsored by. I'm not sponsored by anybody. But these are the Bison Wool Company Bison socks. They are the warmest socks I've ever worn. Far more than merino. Slightly on the itchy side. They're not as smooth and comfortable as merino, but they are so warm. And now I have some camp booties, so I should definitely be getting some warmer feet here pretty quickly now that I switched over to dry socks. So I said earlier, at least if I didn't cut it out of the video, I said it earlier, that one of the things I like to do is in the wintertime, I use white gas. I don't use a jet boil. I know jet boils are really popular, and in the summertime they are great if you just want to heat up water for freeze-dried foods, but they do not work when it gets below freezing. If you keep the canister warm, sometimes you can make it work, but if you have a long cook time, or if you have extremely cold temperatures, it will sputter. It won't get to the proper temperature. I've been in -17 with a jet boil, and it would never boil the water. It just could not put out the heat that white gas can. And the other advantage, I don't international travel, but a lot of your white gas stoves will run on kerosene, diesel, or gasoline. So when you're traveling to remote places, you can typically get fuel for them, which is very convenient. I've never had to worry about that, but it is one of the other advantages of them. As I was trying to say there, in the summertime, this would be a huge no-no. You do not want to cook in your tent. You don't want to have food smells anywhere near you where you have interesting animals that would want to come investigate while you're sleeping. Especially bears, but mice are actually incredibly destructive. And they will ruin your gear so fast. So you need to, when you put a white gas stove together, you need to lubricate this a little bit. Best way to do that is actually just to lick it. And then you can plug that into the cylinder. And spin the lock around. And you just pump it up. It was a pretty full container, so it doesn't take a lot of pumping to get it ready. Put the shield around this. The shield not only keeps the stove warmer, so you don't waste so much fuel when you're cooking, but it also kind of helps protect the cylinder a little bit from getting too hot as well. But yeah, in the wintertime, you don't have to worry about the critters. You gotta worry about mice sometimes still, but don't have to worry about the big critters that can hurt you coming to see what's going on. This lighter has gone bad. There is nothing left in it. That's annoying. Did I get any fluid on here? Oh, I hear it. See if just a spark will get it here. Nope, let me get another lighter. Good thing I carry multiples. There we go. All right, open the vent up here a little bit. Let some of the fumes out. I got a little ahead of myself here. I gotta see how much water my food takes. It's 1.5 cups. All right, I can turn it up a little bit and get cooking. Not sure how well you can hear me over the gas stove here, but my wife made little food cozies to help backpacking food stay warmer when we're out winter camping, and also just to cook better. And it seemed to help last time. I know you can buy those, but it helps to have a crafty wife too. Crafty in the good sense. All right, so dinner is done, it looks like, finally. I have tonight Backpacker's Pantry. It's chana masala. So it's really tasty, not too spicy. There's a lot of varied foods out there now that didn't used to exist a decade ago. Backpacker's Pantry is a good one. Mary Jane's Farms is a good one. There's one that's made in Maine. I forget the name of the company, but they have a lot of good stuff. Smaller portions, but everything seems to be very high quality foods. So I'm glad there's a lot more options out there. Sometimes it's just way easier to bring freeze-dried meals and ready-to-go things than it is to bring a whole bunch of cooked items with you. But to each his own. Pop up the tent here real quick and show you the fire. So the fire's still going good. Might go over there and enjoy a little bit of that once dinner is done. So my poor buddy, I think he's cold. It's not super cold out yet, but he's chilling in my sleeping bag, and somehow I'm on his sleeping bag. So I think things got a little reversed here, but he's in there. He's been enjoying it. He's about to get fed too while I'm eating my dinner, which that should definitely make him happy. So let me chew on my dinner here and spare you actually watching me eat it. And I'll be back in a little bit. So dinner is done. I decided to come out here and check out the fire real quick. Burned through a lot of that wood that I had. There's not going to be much of a fire left. It is only 7:20. So I think this is the, turn that light off here and get Put the light on. There we go. I think this is the earliest I've ever eaten dinner and been done with everything. But when it gets dark, you kind of have to just go in and be done. That's not going to burn. So yeah, we don't have much fire left until this is all gone here. That's okay. We're not going to be out. We're going to be inside the tent. I see one star, or a planet, I'm not sure which. I see some other stars now too. It is a clear night, so yeah, it's probably going to drop temperature. Well, I have no video screen because it's so cold, so hopefully it's recording. But dinner has been wrapped up, and it's time to go to bed. The fire has died out. It wasn't going to last very long with the wood being as wet as it was, and then I didn't keep it very big. And then to show you here, this is Dart's onesie, and it keeps him quite warm, but he doesn't really like it too much. Prior to that, until I took him out for his last potty break, he was inside of his sleeping bag snoring, so he was at least comfortable. But this way, though, I don't have to worry about him while I'm sleeping, getting out of the sleeping bag and then being cold. So he'll just be wearing his sleeping bag all night. So I will see you in the morning. Good night. Good morning. It is 6:20. I just checked the temp and it's 20 degrees out. So almost 19, like I said. You can see here, my poor buddy is covered in my jacket, wearing his sleeping bag. I don't think he enjoyed his night very much. He's going to definitely enjoy breakfast, though. Aren't you, buddy? Huh? Let's go enjoy breakfast. Oh, he hears the food. You can get up and eat it. Oh, you're stealing my bed now, huh? Your water frozen? Yeah. All right. It's definitely warmer in the tent than out, because the water outside froze in the vestibule. The water inside the tent did not freeze. But I did sleep with the water just in case that was going to happen. You thirsty? No? That's all you want? All right. Oh, oops, come on. Next up's going to be some oatmeal for me for breakfast and some coffee. Don't know if you can hear me still over the stove or not. If not, it'll just be pictures, but Mount Hagen. Actually pretty decent freeze-dried coffee. And sadly, Dairy and I don't get along anymore. Coconut Cloud, it's an okay coffee creamer. Doesn't mix too well. Dairy tastes a lot better, but Dairy likes to get in the fights with me anymore, so this is what I'm stuck with. And I'm not sure if it's visible on camera or not, the angle. I can't see the screen because it's so cold the screen won't turn on. But I have my spoon in the pot to boil. And I did that because there was some food leavings on the spoon that I couldn't get off last night during dinner. And just in case a mouse or anything like that decided to crawl in here and try to lick on it while I was sleeping, want to boil that, make sure nothing's alive on that spoon. That's nasty. And breakfast is instant oatmeal. How you doing over here, buddy, huh? Probably glad to have some food in you? Yeah? So last night, he actually did stay inside of his sleeping bag for a little while before I put his onesie on him. So that was the first. He was in there for probably about 2 hours until he finally got up for last time out. Well, he's not too cold. His tongue is still warm. On our last winter backpacking trip, his tongue was cold. All right, buddy. That's enough. Thanks. He's definitely not stupid, though. Look where I'm sitting again. I am once again on the dog bed, and he is on my nice, thick, inflatable mattress. He knows where it's comfy. I can say that the GoPro's cold weather batteries seem to hold up pretty well. Like the GoPro spent the entire night in the vestibule. It did some recording beforehand, so I'm not sure exactly how many minutes I have on that battery. But it shows a little bit more than half charge still, even after sitting out there all night. Normal batteries would be pretty dead at this point. All right, I got a boil. And the spoon's almost too hot to touch. All right. Stir up the oatmeal here. Hopefully it thickens up nicely without cooling off too quick. When I open the door for the, oops, what's going on here? Oh, when I open up the door for the, just the tent body to the vestibule, there's a bunch of cold air that came in, so it was definitely warmer in here than it was outside. I opened up the vestibule again just to look out. It was even colder yet, so definitely when you do winter backpacking, 4-season tent, don't bring a 3-season. Guess I can talk a little bit more about what we actually brought for sleeping on. So thermarests are always a given. The ground is the biggest heat sink for, that again here, the ground is the biggest heat sink for your body. So it'll suck heat out of you faster than anything. So we always bring the closed cell foam rollable pads or the new Z-fold pads. But those only have an R value about 2. They're not incredibly warm, but they're better than nothing. I always bring an inflatable pad as well. And the inflatable pad here, this is the NeoRest Thermal X-Therm. It has an R value, I think, of 5.7. So stacked on top of that with the closed cell foam at 7.7. But the reason to bring the closed cell foam is that if this pops, this is an R value is 0. So, and they do pop. They even come from the factory with a repair kit in the field just in case they do pop. But sometimes you can't fix those fix those leaks. So always bring 2 pads. That way you don't end up freezing to death in the middle of the night, because it doesn't matter how big your sleeping bag is. If you have no ground insulation, you will freeze. You'll be cold. So I always bring those. And obviously your sleeping bag is the bag of choice. Whatever bag you can afford, whatever bag fits your budget and is for the appropriate temp. Women tend to sleep colder than men, which I know everybody who's listening to this right now is like, wait a minute, my wife has an oven next to me in the bed. Yep. But they feel colder at night, so they need a warmer bag. Generally speaking. My daughter and my wife seem to hold true to that. And then we found these pillows. Sea to Summit. The Arrows Ultralight. These are comfy. They have 2 versions. I have the non-insulated one. They also have one that has a little bit of a down layer in it that is insulated. I don't know if I truly noticed the insulation difference. I've used both, but I like that pillow. It's big. It lets me get my arm underneath it comfortably and not have my arm sticking out in weird spots like the smaller pillow does. Other than that, you know, you've seen enough YouTube videos to know, dress in layers. I got a base layer on, got a really thick wool shirt on, base layer pants, base layer under my pants, I should say, and then my pants. And then besides my soft shell jacket that I'm wearing right now, I do have a big puffy in my coat just in case it got really cold. Or the other thing to think about too is that what happens if you get injured? I talked about taking Dart out on his little doggy rescue harness if I had to. But the other thing that could happen too is that you could be injured. And if you're injured and you're not moving, you're not generating heat. So I always bring a big down coat for myself. I always encourage everybody on the group to bring a big down coat just in case you get stuck and you're having to wait for something. You might not expect to be out in temperatures like that. That would warrant the big coat. But if I was to sit around a campfire or sit around outside, the big coat would be warranted because I wouldn't be moving right now in 20-degree weather. Soft shell would be a little thin for that. But when I hiked out here yesterday,
I was in a base layer on the top. I took my wool shirt off and my soft shell because it was just way too warm with all the energy I was putting out. And being in Michigan, you usually have cell service. Not always, but usually. Out west, that's a different story. So I, apparently, from watching other YouTube videos, am one of the few people who still use a spot. Most people have gone to the Garmin InReach. I've been a spot user for 15 years. I've liked the spots. I think they've worked well. The one thing I really do like about the spot over the InReach is that the spot is separate from your mapping device. So I like the fact that it's self-contained and it's unlikely to have the batteries go dead because you're using it for dual purposes. I know some of the new Apple phones have the SOS communicator in them that allows you just to contact emergency services. But it's a phone, and you tend to use your phone for pictures. If you have service for streaming, the phone's constantly looking for service as well, unless you put it in airplane mode. So phones' batteries don't tend to last very long. The spot, being that it's self-contained and you only use it for messaging, is usually there and ready to go. So I like that functionality of it. Plus, unlike the Apple iPhone SOS, you can use the spot to text anybody. It doesn't have to be just emergency services. So it's nice to check in with people and tell them where you're at. If you're in an area with no cell phone service, it's nice to let other people know your coordinates. So if you stop responding, people know to come look for you. I've had 2 different instances now where we've had to have search and rescue come and get members of my party. One for a broken leg and one for hypothermia. So it is important to be able to have communication with people and let them know that what has happened if something does happen. The broken leg was backcountry skiing, and that was on top of probably about 9 feet of powder. It was a lot of snow, and there was no way that we could have got her out of there just on our skis. She had to be sledded out. That location, we actually had cell service. The hypothermia location, we did not, and the spot messenger was actually critical in getting rescue services organized to know that an issue had happened. We were able to eventually get back to an area where we did have service and fill them in on exactly what was going on, but they were already rallying because of the spot communication that came in. All right, oatmeal should be done. Looks pretty thick. It's like that old hillbilly joke. Go out over to the hillbilly's house to eat dinner, and serves dinner. Dinner's great. You don't ask what it is, but it tastes delicious. You say, "Hey, can I help you clean up?" Like, there's no need. Soap and water will take care of it. But yeah, I know soap and water will take care of it, but you need someone to help you scrub off the stuff, don't you? He goes, no. Here, soap. Here, water. Oh, you're ruining the joke, buddy. It's an effort to get over here, apparently, to clean up the dishes. We don't let him lick the coffee cups, though. He doesn't need to increase his badness level. You missed my spots. You're giving hillbillies a bad name here. Come on. There you go. Thanks, buddy. All right. We're going to sit here for a minute and digest our food, both of us. And I'm going to start packing up here, I think, as soon as first light happens, which is about another 20 minutes, I think. 20 or 30 minutes away. All right. It is pack up and clean up time. So I got some of the stuff already consolidated here. His bed, the air mattress. He's in my sleeping bag, though. It doesn't seem like he wants to get out. Which I don't blame him. He's not doing anything yet, so he's still chilly. But maybe if I just start squishing the bag around him into the stuff sack, he'll get out. Alright, this is by far my least favorite part of winter backpacking. That is putting on frozen cold boots that have been in the vestibule all night. Because these are going to be cold and they're going to hurt until my feet get moving from some activities. Take off the camp booties. Yeah, those are cold. So when I'm active, I tend to run pretty warm. Hence why I'm wearing this leather mountaineering boots and not... I got ice stuck on my D-rings. There you go. And not... I guess let me repeat that, 'cause I think I said that wrong. I tend to run kind of warm, which is why I'm wearing this leather hiking boots, backpacking boots, and not actual mountaineering boots or winter boots. However, if I was out for multiple days where I'm likely to get my feet either wet from the environment or from perspiration, I would wear a double boot. And a double boot just has a liner that comes out. And the benefit of that is you can put that liner in your sleeping bag with you overnight. So your body heat can help dry it out. And if it's super wet, it might not dry it out, but at least it will make it so it's warm and it's not frozen. Because sometimes you put boots on, and if they're frozen enough, you will not get those on. Because they'd be too stiff and they won't flex around your body parts that you're trying to put them in. Yeah, these boots are cold. And being just leather on the inside and leather on the outside, they don't really offer any insulation other than your own body heat that's putting stuff off. In great quantities, so I need to get up, start moving here pretty soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have some painful feet. And I'm not sure if you can see this on camera too well, but this is the way I like to tie round laces. You take two loops, cross them, bring one under, and bring the other one under the opposite direction. I have heard that this is the way Russian military ties their boots. I have no idea if that's correct, being never in the Russian military, but it makes for a very tight lace that is hard to come loose, because a lot of times with round laces like that, they come loose pretty easy. Actually, go down another one here. So that'll help them become not so untied. And that's really important when my ice climbing boots I have. Those are normally under a pair of gaiters, so it's a big pain in the butt when those laces come untied. You gotta stop, take your gaiters off, and retie everything. It's way easier just to lace them in a way that it's fairly easy to untie when you want to, but don't accidentally come loose. All right. Get my booties shoved in here. I did not bring a change of clothes for this overnighter. The only thing I brought was extra socks. Because if you don't take care of your feet, you're not walking out. I love these compression sacks over a normal stuff sack. One, they're waterproof, but they also have an E-vent bottom. So as you compress them, it squeezes air out while maintaining its waterproofness, which is great.
My backpack of choice this time on this trip was my Gregory. It's an old Balturo, and it does not have a very big sleeping bag compartment. So this 0-degree bag is about maxing that little space out, which is funny for a 65-liter pack that has such a small sleeping bag area. All right, time to go outside. Kill the internal light here so we can see what this looks like as we come out. Definitely still twilight. So before I pack everything up here, let's I put my hand in the fire last night and there was no heat at all from it, but just to make sure, we will completely cover it. All right, let's start the tear down of the tent. We get the backpack out and start collapsing all this stuff. So I have some really thin gloves on. It's 22, last I looked on the thermometer. So it's not super warm, but it's not windy right now. But I did bring huge mitts and some thicker gloves just in case. You can usually be pretty good on your core, but when it comes to hands and feet, you gotta make sure you can protect those. All right, now my bag will stand up on its own a lot better. It is, let's see here, 7:50. So actual sunrise is at 8:04, I think. So we're getting pretty close to sun up here. I'm trying to spare my puppy dog getting out of there as soon as he has to, since he's going to be chilly until we start moving around. So in the meantime, getting as much packed up as possible until I have to collapse the entire tent. I know he appreciates that. Bury the big bottle in the bag and leave the little bottle out when we get to the truck. All right, Dart. Neither one of us drank enough water last night. Try to get all the dirt and mud off of here as possible before I put these back in the bag. So I have different colored pegs, or stakes. And the reason for that is they never give you enough stakes for every guy out point you have on the tent. And I have been in some pretty nasty winds where you want, where you want every guy out point lashed out. So spend the money, buy some extra steaks, throw them in your bags. Better to have them and not need them than to need them and not have them. Here you go, buddy. Nope. Hey. When we were camping in 4-degree weather and we were tearing the tent down, he kept trying to get back into it even though it was sealed up. He knew it was warmer than the outside and he was not having a good time being outside in that cold. Let's take down the other one first. I hear a bird calling. Starting to make me think about Hunger Games. Sounds like a mockingjay. Even though I know those are fake birds. They don't actually exist. This is one of the reasons I do not like sleeved tents. I prefer clips, but clips are a lot more expensive to make. Nope, lost the light. That's okay. Plenty bright enough out here now. Come on. Pick up all these poles are a little frozen. Here, buddy. Dart. Come here. Come here. I know. When you get your wearable bag off you. I'm sorry. You're going to be chillier now. Because it was definitely toasty inside that when I put my hand in there. see. Get this paw out of there. There you go, buddy. Hold on. He's not a big fan of having to wear clothing, but it does definitely help keep him a little bit warmer out here. He is an Australian cattle dog, not a winter cattle dog. He seems to really enjoy being active in the cold, but he does not like standing around in it. There you go. Who's a good buddy? Yeah. There's my headlamp. One thing to do with your headlamps so they don't turn on in your pack is always loosen the battery compartment so it can't be accidentally pushed on. Nothing worse than getting to camp and having no light. Alright, I can tell already, even though it is, what is it here? 20 degrees. Actually cooled off more since I started. I'm going to want to lose my soft shell. Well, the top is pretty warm, but my feet not moving yet and being in these leather boots, they're starting to hurt. We walked off trail for a ways, so now we have to walk back on the trail. Oh, that was not fun. And you felt so secure on there too when I tied John. What about over here? Alright, this leash. Oh, I've lost audio again. It has to be the cold because that's like an 8-hour run time. Alright, still got video? Still got video. Well, that's a bummer. I keep losing audio. I guess I'm gonna put this guy away so it doesn't fall off the pack. All right, straighten this out. We are packed up and ready to head out, and that direction should be towards the trailhead. Nope, Dart is eager. Normally he follows me when we head out here for these trips, and he ends up leading a lot on the way back because he knows the way back. At least sometimes he thinks he does. We'll see how he does today. Nope, come on, buddy. You already got distracted. Yeah, he's following. We're just because we're off trail. Yep, there's our pea spot we saw the other day. Come on. Get over here. There's a reason dogs are used as a derogatory comment for disgusting humans. I love my puppy dog, but he does like to smell and lick nasty stuff. This was not a direct route off the trail. As you can see, it's a little bit of directness, but I ended up kind of meandering a bit as I was trying to look for a open campsite that was on flattish ground. Alright, Dart and I are going to keep walking our back to the trail. I'll see you soon. Alright, we're back on the trail. Got my trusty buddy down there following me. Oh, right on my heels. Okay, there he goes. My toes are starting to warm up a little bit now that we're actually moving. Still in the painful spot though, but that's a good thing. I can still feel them. And surprisingly, the temperature did drop. It is 19.8 now. So even though the sun has come up, with it being overcast like it is, we're not getting any warmth yet. Last night it was perfectly clear, so at least when I went to bed. So I had to move in sometime over the evening. Well, my dog is full of it, but he's a good boy and takes it off trail. It's definitely annoying when you are out hiking somewhere in the middle of nowhere and you step in someone's dog poop right on the trail. It's like, really? You couldn't have got your dog to go a little bit off trail for that? I didn't have to teach mine that. For some reason, he just does not want to poop on the trail. So, thankful for that. He's been a really good dog. Just much sniffing there, buddy. Come on. One thing I will say while we hike back here is that my dog does not have a choice coming on these trips with me. I want to go on a trip. He goes with me. Last night in the tent, he was cold. He actually used his sleeping bag for the first time. But before I went to bed, I took him out of the sleeping bag and I put him in his onesie because the onesie's a lot warmer. That way, in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping, if he gets out of the sleeping bag, he doesn't freeze. Because he's not a very vocal dog. He won't tell me if he's cold. Hey. Whose face is covered in snow? He won't tell me if he's cold. He won't tell me if he's miserable. He just kind of waits till I notice that he's not behaving normally. Whether it's panting or looking around a lot. So, what I'm getting at here in the long of it is that he doesn't have a choice going on these trips with me, and he's not always the most comfortable. One of the things he really enjoys is sniffing things. So I try to make time for him, hiking in, especially hiking out, where he gets to explore a little bit and follow his nose. That way, I had an enjoyable experience. and he had an enjoyable experience. And he doesn't hate coming on these trips with me. He would come anyways. He's such a loyal dog. First time we went backpacking with him in Colorado, my wife, who is incredibly fit, we hiked 7 or 8 miles the first day in elevation, mostly uphill. I think we did 3,000 feet elevation gain that day. And he kept up with us. But that was the first time he's ever done anything like that, where we had such a long trip. And he had a backpack on. First time in elevation. The next day he was limping. He overworked himself. But that's what a loyal dog does, is he keeps up with you and doesn't leave the pack. So we actually cut our trip short because we didn't want him to be injured and having a bad time. So I took his pack and we hiked out with him having no weight on him. But since that time, that was several years ago, we've taken him out for runs, taken him out for trips like this a lot. We've made sure he's up for his physical activities he's going to do with us, so you can enjoy it more. So if you haven't hiked North Country Trail before, there are blue blazes that are painted on trees to mark the trail. And if a trail crosses the North Country Trail, it's usually a different color of a blaze to mark that trail. But blue is typically, in Michigan anyways, used for the North Country Trail. And we've had a goal so far this year of every time we come to Michigan for a winter experience to be on the North Country Trail for a portion of it at least. So we've been fortunate that we have hiked, snowshoed, and cross-country skied now on the North Country Trail this winter. I was hoping to cross-country ski up here, but yesterday with 39 degrees, I was afraid that it was going to be sloshy on the way in and crusty on the way out. And that was not going to make for very good conditions, but this is actually pretty powdery. I'm surprised. Probably would have been okay for cross-country skiing it. Might have been a little difficult with the pack though. I have not cross-country skied with 40 pounds before. But first time for everything, you gotta try it once, huh? Is that your tree now? Did you claim it? Well, I guess he shouldn't sniff. He'll catch up. What you doing, buddy? Here he comes. And back in the lead. Yesterday, we did not stop here because there was 2 snowshoers that had stopped here. Huh. Somebody has filled out travel logs, huh? I don't think this is very well maintained because there's not a lot of extra space to write. Ready? We're getting close to the road. I'm going to leash him up here pretty soon, but I did want to say that you see how deep the snow is here. Now granted it's packed down, and I dug out the area for the fire. I'd say about 6 inches. If you want to hate snowshoeing, snowshoe in conditions like this. I think snowshoe can be fun if you're post-holing and the snow is knee-deep or deeper. But when you don't need the snowshoe, it just slows you down. It's so much faster just to hike on this stuff. At least that's my opinion. I don't know. Talk about your snowshoeing experiences in the comments if you want. But I think snowshoeing is there because you can't traverse the terrain very easily without them. Otherwise, it's just tedious. Come on. Come on. Hey. Get over here. All right. Road's right there, buddy. Come here. Ooh, my carabiner is frozen. All right, come on. Come on. He really does not like being on a leash. I don't blame him. I don't have a leash on. I'd be pretty upset if someone put a leash on me too. And there's a car, which is the reason why he's on a leash. Yeah, that was fast, wasn't it, huh? Alright, no one's coming. And I think we're going to get a picture here of us next to the North Country Trail sign. Hey, we are back in the truck now, have packed up and are getting ready to head out. I think we're going to go find some places to cross-country ski, since we didn't get to do that on the way in. But thanks for coming along on our video today and enjoying the trip with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Check out some of the other videos we've done. Until then, have a great day and keep adventuring out there. Just lots of things to explore.